Imagine a place where you might need a tutorial just across the street, be deceived by a charming scammer, or smoke from a bamboo pipe as long as your arm. Welcome to the darker side of Vietnam. From the 2nd to the 19th centuries, the country was governed by 4 dynasties. The Zhang and Li dynasties fought off Mongol invasions and Chinese occupations to preserve and unify the land. Later, the Nguyen dynasty expanded Vietnam's territory. However, it wasn't until the late 19th century that French colonial powers arrived, and many Vietnamese fought for independence, facing imprisonment in the process. The Japanese then took control in 1940, and Vietnam declared its independence in 1945 after World War II. Yet this was not the end of the struggle. France attempted to reclaim control, leading to the First Indochina War in 1946, which Vietnam won. The U.S. then became involved in the Second Indochina War between the communist-backed North and the South from 1955 to 1975. The country was finally reunified under the Socialist Republic of Vietnam in 1975, following the North's victory and the withdrawal of American troops. Today, Vietnam is governed by a socialist-oriented regime and continues to grow, though it still bears scars from its past. One such scar is Agent Orange, a chemical used by American forces between 1961 and 1971. This herbicide, intended to destroy enemy food sources, contains dioxins, some of the most toxic substances known, and continues to affect millions in Vietnam. The U.S. program sprayed 80 million liters of herbicides across Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. Dioxins have led to severe health issues, including birth defects, skin disorders, autoimmune diseases, and more. Almost 4.8 million Vietnamese have been exposed, with nearly 1 million suffering from various conditions, including 192,000 children. Despite U.S. donations for cleanup, scientists believe dioxins may impact future generations for up to 6 to 12 generations. On a brighter note, Vietnam has seen impressive economic progress since its economic reforms in 1986. The country has transitioned from one of the poorest to a middle-income economy, with its GDP increasing 3.6 times and poverty rates dropping by over 10% in the past 2 decades. In 2022, Vietnam's GDP was $413.81 billion, with a GDP per capita of $4,163.50. By the end of 2023, these figures are expected to rise to $449.09 billion and $4,475, respectively. Income inequality is also decreasing, particularly in urban areas where the rich-poor divide has narrowed significantly. However, 4.4% of the population still lives in poverty, about 4.3 million people struggling in very poor conditions. Scams and theft remain problems, particularly in popular tourist areas like Ho Chi Minh City. Common scams include bar girl schemes, where attractive women deceive tourists into spending money or buying expensive drinks, and travel scams, where victims are tricked into paying for travel arrangements that are never fulfilled. Another scheme involves sugar daddy scams, where victims are promised companionship and sexual favors in exchange for financial support, often with multiple victims involved. A notable case involved a U.S. man who lost $139,000 to a scammer claiming it was for a visa. Pickpocketing is another concern, especially after dark and in crowded places. Thieves often work in groups, using tactics to distract and steal from unsuspecting tourists. Travelers should be cautious of accommodations that seem less secure than advertised and be wary of navigating poorly lit areas. Vietnam's traffic is notoriously chaotic, contributing to a high number of daily traffic-related fatalities. Many drivers treat traffic rules as optional, and pedestrians must cross streets without waiting for traffic to stop, as congestion is severe. In North Vietnam, a traditional smoking pipe called Thor Lao is popular. This large bamboo pipe is used to smoke tobacco and is considered by some to be less harmful than cigarettes, though it contains more nicotine and can be more addictive. Human trafficking is an alarming issue in Vietnam, with the country becoming a trafficking hub. Traffickers often promise high-paying jobs abroad or marriage and adoption arrangements. Despite significant efforts by authorities to combat this problem and rescue victims, unemployment remains a driving factor behind many people's vulnerability to trafficking. Despite these challenges, Vietnam is a vibrant nation with a rich history and culture. Its resilience and progress offer hope for overcoming its darker aspects in the future. The ongoing issues of human trafficking and other crimes are deeply troubling, but Vietnam's dedication to addressing these problems is evident. Authorities are actively working to curb trafficking by rescuing victims and prosecuting traffickers, though much work remains to be done. The fact that unemployment and poverty drive many into vulnerable situations underscores the need for continued economic and social development. Tourists and visitors to Vietnam are advised to stay alert and take precautions to avoid scams and theft. When exploring, it's essential to choose accommodations wisely and remain vigilant, especially in less secure areas. Being aware of local customs and potential risks can help ensure a safer and more enjoyable experience. Vietnam's progress in economic development, despite its challenges, highlights its resilience and potential. The country's transformation from one of the world's poorest nations to a middle-income economy is a testament to its ability to overcome adversity. As Vietnam continues to grow and modernize, it faces the dual task of addressing its historical scars while building a brighter future. The story of Vietnam is one of remarkable endurance and transformation. While it grapples with issues from its past, the country's strides in economic development and efforts to address ongoing problems are promising signs of its capacity to achieve long-term progress. With continued resilience and reform, Vietnam's future looks increasingly hopeful.